Hello, everybody. Welcome to your Betting Insights, your sports betting podcast. I am your host, Timothy. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Sergio.
Hey everybody.
How's everybody doing? We want to thank everybody for joining in. Like we usually do, we quickly tell you guys the concept of our show. We are discussing five different cup competitions across Europe: Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, Eredivisie, and the Premier League. Now we are discussing every game individually and giving out our predictions, primarily our betting predictions. Now we will tell you for each game what the smart bet is for that game, or maybe just to stay away from that game. Also smart sometimes. Now, before we get started, we always tell you guys bet responsibly, never bet more money than you can afford to lose. All right, let's get to it. Today, we are starting with Serie A. First game on the schedule Salernitana versus Frosinone. Sergio, take it away.
Salernitana, Frosinone, those two. Salernitana, they have a little bit more difficult start of the season. They lost the last two games. So, Frosinone, I don't know. I think find they found a little bit a little bit of form. They won against Sassuolo and Atlanta. This was a draw against Udinese. So so they are starting to find their way up. But Salernitana, mm, not so much. So if I look at the stats, also the way that they play against each other, the chances are that Frosinone is going to win this match, but I'm staying away from this one because for me it feels like a draw. Salelita. I don't think they want to lose against Frosinone. It will be three in a row for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, although Frosinone is like right now sixth in the Serie A, I don't think they'll be in a standing sixth in at the end of the competition. So, Frosinone is an opponent where Salernitana would want to get some points, right? So, and I think both these teams are actually vulnerable at the back. So, if I were to play this game, I would look at the over in 2.5 goals. It's set at 1.98. I think there's some good value there. Salernitana playing at home, they should score a goal. Frosinone, Salernitana also doesn't have a great defense. Neither teams have a great defense, so I would look to play the over 2.5. I think there's some good value there, but in terms of winning, lose, draw, line kind of stinks. So I'm also staying away from that game.
Yeah, that's a little bit. It's a difficult one.
All right, next up, Lecce versus Genoa. Lecce quite an impressive start. Lecce wins 2.43. Genoa wins 3.25. Line for the total goals also 2.5. You're doing something here.
Yeah, yes. Lecce is a. I'm not. This game I am also not betting, but I'm um, willing to give some advice. Lecce is the one that's interesting for me. You know, they're playing at home. The odds are really good. 243 for Lecce to win, and Lecce, of course, the last games they won, won, draw. So it looks like they are winning all the home games. And Genoa, you know, is one of the teams that they can definitely do something against at home. So the chances are there for Lecce to win this game. They are fourth in the competition now.
Yeah.
Also nothing. Also something to look at. Genoa just 13, but eight, 4 points difference. So that says a lot. But for me, Lecce is the way to go because at home they are really strong,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
especially against teams like Genoa, and also they won at home against Lazio. So
Yeah, but Genoa won away against Lazio, so maybe that speaks to more in in the state of Lazio. I'm also leaning towards Lecce because they're playing at home, but because they're undefeated, give me some concern. They're gonna drop points at some point. They're not gonna finish fourth. So I'm leaning towards Lecce. If I were to play something in this game, I would look at both teams to score, set at 1.95. I think there's some good value there. But for me, I think Lecce will win. It's just a lean, just because they haven't lost yet. But I'm leaning towards Lecce. But I would go with both teams to score. All right. Next up, AC Milan versus Hellas Verona. AC Milan wins at 1.41. Hellas Verona wins at 9. Line for the total goals, 2.5. AC Milan coming off an European duties. What can we expect?
Yeah, the Champions League. Yeah, and also last week they got a little bit of a beating from
For
Inter.
Inter? Yeah, they got
I
trashed.
didn't I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, they really Inter really went to town with Milan. So and also they played during the week against Newcastle. They also didn't won that one. So I think it's a chance for Hellas Verona to maybe get a point. Um, I think that if they start to pressure early, Hellas Verona, I think that's what they are gonna want to do. So because Milan also has like one game more in the legs, and Hellas Verona they will be a little bit fresher and yeah, not a very good team, Hellas Verona this season. I would say. Okay, they won against Roma, but still, Roma is not a team that is
Yeah,
performing that well.
and also in Roma kind of dominated possession and chances in that game. So Verona were kind of very lucky to get away with the win. And the other team when the next game when they played against Sassuolo, they played away. They actually got dominated by Sassuolo, lost in 3-1. I don't expect much from Verona in this game. I know AC Milan they have an extra game under their belt, but I can't see it going any other way than an AC Milan win. They were very good against Newcastle. Very unfortunate not to win that game. Actually, from the bounce, they kind of put pressure on Newcastle. But Newcastle is also a disaster at the moment, so not sure what that says really from an. But I like AC Milan to win this game. Not a lot of value in betting AC Milan, so I'm staying away from this game. But I like AC Milan. I don't expect Verona to put up much of a fight.
Yeah, yeah. That's the problem. AC Milan last week, against Inter, maybe they'll try to restore their position, but you never know if they a draw during the week. mm,
Yeah, but they didn't have any travel. Like they played Inter and also at the San Siro, of course. They played Newcastle. They played at home. So now they come home. They stay home. So no travel. I get extra game under the belt, but Verona is not the opponent to you would expect to do anything against AC Milan. So uh, I expect a comfortable AC Milan win.
Okay.
All right, next up, Sassuolo versus Juventus. Sassuolo wins at 4.3. Juventus wins at 1.82. Line for the total goals, 2.5. You got somebody here.
Yeah, I think you definitely need to go for Juventus here, and especially for the odds. They're very interesting. And Sassuolo a little bit out of form the last two games. Okay, they won one time against who was it? I think it was
Verona,
Hellas
that's
Verona.
Verona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hellas Verona. Yeah, so I'm going for Juventus on this one. Yeah, but this is definitely my first lock for the weekend. Yeah, Juventus to win it as well. Yeah, they can't give this one away. It's uh, it's one of the matches that they have to win, especially if they want to stay on top. Sassuolo is no, they will win this one. Juventus.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
was also surprised about the odds. It's a little bit high, 1.82. So
Yeah, but last season and Sassuolo actually won at home against Juventus, and Sassuolo has always been a kind of a tricky opponent for Juventus. Um, but this year Sassuolo is not that good. They're not as good as last year, especially. So I agree with you. Juventus should win this game going away. I also have Juventus as my first lock for the week. So I fully agree with everything you said. Sassuolo, bad defense. They shipped 4 goals against Frosinone. Uh, Aside from Empoli, they kind of they conceded the most goals in the Serie A at the moment. So I expect Juventus to score also more than once, maybe even more than twice. But I would go with Juventus to win. That's a good bet, good value. I like that one. All right, next up, Empoli versus Inter. Empoli wins at 9.5. Inter wins at 1.33. Line for total goals 3.5. What do you got?
I don't think we have to stay too long at this game. Empoli, they lost what 5 in a row. So no. This is definitely not okay. Inter played during the week against Real Sociedad. It was a draw. That surprised me actually.
Yeah, it
I
was very
really thought that they
surprising.
would. Yeah, I really thought that they would win that game and maybe Real Sociedad would be in real big trouble. I thought, but that didn't happen. Um, of course, yeah, playing against a Spanish club is different than in Italy. So I think that was the problem also. But Empoli is not going to be a problem for Inter this weekend, and it's going to be an easy win for
Yeah, I agree with you. Empoli still winless, 0 points. Inter shouldn't have any problem brushing them aside. I also was surprised when Inter drew against Sociedad during midweek, but he didn't start with the strongest 11. After he made some substitutions, they kind of started playing better. But it's always tricky, teams in the Champions League in the first game and in the group stage, especially going on the road. So it's not very surprising if you look at that way. But like you said, this game Empoli shouldn't offer any resistance against Inter, so it should be a comfortable Inter win. You can maybe look to play both teams to score at 1.83. There's some good value there, given the fact that Empoli hasn't scored a goal yet. They will score a goal at some point. But on the other hand, Inter has a very good defense, so maybe they'll have to wait a bit longer to find the net. So,
yeah.
but
Maybe over 3.5 is also interesting.
nah, I don't like the over 3.5. No, I don't like the
No.
over three. No. I would go both teams to score. I don't have this as a bet for the weekend, but if you want to do something, look at both teams to score. All right, next up, Atalanta versus Cagliari. Sorry. Atalanta wins at 1.38. Cagliari wins at 9. Line for the total goals, 2.5. What do you got?
It's also not going to be too much of a difficult game for Atalanta. Cagliari also still they didn't find their form yet. Um, so so Atalanta also their form is like win, lose. They won the last game, but I don't think they're gonna lose now against Cagliari, especially not at home. They have a much better team. They have a bigger interest. I think sure they want to end the season in the try to end the season in the top 4 or top 5. So yeah, they're not gonna leave a chance to get 3 points here. So for me, it's an easy Atalanta win.
Yeah, Atalanta lost the last game against Fiorentina, but Fiorentina is actually in a kind of tricky good opponent. So Cagliari is not good at all. They've scored 1 goal. They really have trouble scoring, and you saw that in the last game when they played Udinese. They really have trouble finding the net. I don't expect anything else than an Atalanta win. They should win comfortably. So I also don't have a good bet for this game. Not very interesting odds, so I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, me also.
All right, next up, Udinese versus Fiorentina. Udinese wins at 3.15. Fiorentina wins at 2.28. Line for the total goals, 2.5. What do you got here?
Now, this is an interesting one because Fiorentina, they haven't won what's the last 4 games. They drew a lot, 3 of the last 4. So you're starting to think that maybe a win is in the air.
No, no.
Fiorentina, no, Fiorentina. They played during during the week. They went to Belgium to play against Genk.
Yes.
So I think that maybe can have an effect on Fiorentina. Um, Udinese, they they have a good defense, you can say, because
No, no, no.
yeah, the last 3 games they only conceded one one goal.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
it was against Frosinone and
exactly,
against
exactly,
Cagliari, of course. But yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But still, I think it won't be an easy game for Fiorentina. For me, I would try to maybe go for a Udinese win on this one.
No, not me, not at all. I'm going for Fiorentina. Like one thing you said, I agree with. That's the fact that they played Thursday. So extra game under their belt. They were on the road, so they had to travel. Slight concern, but like I said, Udinese saw them in the last games against Cagliari. They really have trouble scoring. They have trouble finding the net. They've only scored in one game, one of the 4 games. I expect that trend to continue here. I like Fiorentina to win this game. I don't have them as a lock, but I really like Fiorentina to win this game.
Yeah, but if I don't think they'll win. It will either be a draw or a win for Udinese. I think you
No.
can write it down.
All right, let's write that down. I got Fiorentina winning this game. Now I agree, maybe it won't be easy because of the Thursday game and that they had to travel, but no, Fiorentina should win this game. All right, we'll revisit this one next week. Next up,
Yeah.
Bologna versus Napoli. Bologna wins at 3.85. Napoli wins at 1.97. Line for the total goals, 2.5. Where are you going?
This is also a very interesting one. Napoli, the odds are very high. Surprises me also. Napoli, of course, yeah, not not the best of form the last 3 games, but still, it's Napoli. They play during the week. They won against Braga, but to drop points against Bologna will definitely mean that they'll have a little bit trouble this season. So for me, I think they will win this one. I'm really thinking to have this game as my second log because it's yeah it's Napoli. It's the 1.97. The chances are there that they'll win. So
Oh,
for me,
I don't
for me it's a Napoli win.
I don't even have to think about it. I got Napoli as my second lock of the week. 1.97 against Bologna. Come on,
Yeah,
you gotta hammer Napoli. They coming off in
you got
a
it.
they drop points in back-to-back games in the Serie A. They bounce back against Braga in the Champions League. I expect nothing else than a Napoli win. I got Napoli as my second lock of the week. So mark that down.
Okay, then you convinced me. That's what I needed to build Napoli. So I'll have Napoli as my second log also.
All right, we got our first 2 parlay locks. Huh. So maybe it will be a great weekend or a disastrous weekend. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
All right, next up, last game in the Serie A, Torino versus Roma. Torino wins at 3.05. Roma wins at 2.55. Line for the total goals at 2.5. What do you got here?
Yeah, I don't know. Roma is so okay. The last two games, they started to play very well. Of course, against Empoli, 7-0. I think
Yeah, and after
a
that,
lot of
Empoli fired their coach.
frustration in this game. Yeah, yeah, Empoli fired their coach. Yeah, yeah, and Roma played during the week also against Sheriff. They won that game, and they played now they need to play against Torino. Torino, it's a tricky one, and especially for Roma that drop points against Hellas Verona and and Milan and Torino. Torino, they're a little bit like Hellas Verona for me. They play almost the same way. And of course, Torino now in the standings, they are like, what, seventh, I think, and Roma 12th. It's because Roma had a bad start.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Roma had a bad start. But I still would lean more towards Roma to win this one. I won't think Torino will win, maybe a draw, but I would go for Roma to win this one.
Yeah, I really like Roma to win this game. I don't have them as the lock, but if you look at the head-to-head matchups, in the last 6 meetings, Roma won 5, Torino won once. If you go back to the last 7 meetings, Torino won twice, Roma won 5 times, but still, Roma kind of dominates this matchup, especially in Torino. So I really like Roma. They've already dropped points in 3 of the first 4 games, so they don't want that trend to continue. They won the last game, should give them some confidence. Also won against Sheriff. I know they had to travel, but they should have some confidence now heading into this game and want to win this game, get all the 3 points, and fight their way back to the top. So, and I like Roma in this game. I'm going for a Roma win.
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up Serie A. Next up, La Liga. First game on the schedule. Alaves versus Athletic Bilbao. Alaves wins at 3.9. Athletic Bilbao wins at 2.14. Line for the total goals, 2.5. You got somebody here.
Yeah, Bilbao, but there's a problem. It's Friday. Friday usually the most
Bizarre things
most
happen.
weird things happen on the Friday. Normally on a normal day I would go for Bilbao with closed eyes, uh, but this time I'm hesitating. Bilbao, of course, they're in good form. The last 4 games,
Very good form.
only a draw against Mallorca, but the other 3 they won. Um, I would go for Bilbao, but only because it's a Friday game. I'm staying away from this one. I'm staying away from this one, but but Bilbao definitely has a bigger chance of winning. Um, I think over 2.5 is a safer bet, but for a win for Bilbao, that's a little bit difficult.
I'm not sure I like the over 2.5. Alaves kind of has trouble scoring. I know they scored 5 goals, but 4 of those goals came in one game against Sevilla, and those other games they scored only 1 goal. Now Bilbao, like you said, very good form. 3 wins, 1 draw in the last 4 games. So I really like Bilbao in this game. I don't have them as a lock. Line kind of stinks for me. I don't know why why the line is that much, but still I like Bilbao. I'm going with a Bilbao win. Don't have them as a lock, but I like Bilbao. All right, next up, Girona versus Mallorca. Mallorca coming off a surprising win against Celta Vigo last weekend. Girona wins 1.89. Mallorca wins 4.75. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going this game?
Girona, it's a really interesting bet there with 188. Mallorca, like I said, they won. They won the last game. I think it was the first win of the season.
That was the first win of the season.
Yeah. It was the first win of the season, and it was like I would say like a lucky game.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't agree. Yeah. But Girona, I think they didn't lose yet.
Yeah, they haven't lost yet. They only drew their first game. After that, won four straight.
One first straight. And let's see, they won against Getafe, won
Against
against
Sevilla,
Sevilla,
one against Las Palmas, one against
Las Palmas.
Granada. Like
Yeah,
they haven't
so
played good opponents. Maybe for other than Sevilla, you could argue, but Sevilla not in the best state at the moment. So they haven't played great opponents, but still they won four straight.
yeah, first straight, and that's why I think they will win this one against Mallorca. Also because they're playing at home. So Girona will be my third lock for the
Oh,
weekend. Yeah.
all right. I like them. I don't have them as a lock. Um, I like them. The thing that concerns me is they've won four straight. Like,
Oh, no, they didn't lose yet.
yeah, they haven't lost yet. Like, come on, like Girona, they're dirt now. Are they really gonna keep this up? On the other
Yeah,
hand,
but
Mallorca,
against Mallorca, there's a chance
yeah.
for
Like I
them to
said,
do so.
I was gonna say on the other hand, Mallorca's terrible. They were very lucky to come away with the win against Celta Vigo. So I'm also leaning towards Girona. I like them, but like I said, the fact that they haven't lost yet kind of gives me some concern. But they're the better team; they should win.
Yeah, I think so also.
All right, next up, Osasuna versus Sevilla. Osasuna wins at 2.45, Sevilla wins at 3.2. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Sevilla finally got their first win of the season last week against Las Palmas.
Yeah, against Las
Can they
Palmas.
get can they get their second win in a row?
Maybe if they played at home, it would be easier. Against Osasuna, of course, they they always have a chance, but they proved in the games before that they can also lose against the smaller teams, and because they're playing away, I think it will be difficult for them, and that's why the odds are in Osasuna's favor. What what is normally normal, it's that's strange, but
Yeah, yeah,
but Osasuna because Osasuna also not in the best of form. They only won like one game
yeah, yeah, yeah.
against Valencia, so I'm leaning more towards Sevilla because I think that maybe they found a little form somewhere, but they're playing away. It will be difficult for them. So I'm staying away from this game. My feeling says that it's going to be a draw, but the odds are really interesting. But if you want to try something, you should go for Sevilla.
No, I'm going the other way. If you want to try something, go for Osasuna. Sevilla on the road, they're
Definitely.
terrible. You can't back them on the road. They played against Lens in the Champions League midweek. I know they played at home, but even the more concerning that the fact that Lens kind of look better. I don't have a lot of confidence in Sevilla at the moment. I'm going Osasuna. I like Osasuna to win this game. And the
But
coaches,
Osasuna lost. They lost their home games.
yeah, like Sevilla haven't won their home games. All right, so Sevilla's not that good. And if you look at the last in the two matchups in La Liga, Osasuna won both. So it's not like Osasuna really has trouble in with Sevilla. I like Osasuna in this game. They're playing at home. Sevilla coming off a midweek matchup, and they're not in great form. Coach is on the hot seat. I like Osasuna to win this game. Now you can also look at the over 2.5 goals. Also kind of interesting. Osasuna already conceded 8 goals. Sevilla 8 goals also, even though they played one less game. So pretty weak defenses for both teams. So and you can also look to play the over 2.5. I also like that one.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
also good.
Next up, Barcelona versus Celta Vigo. Barcelona wins at 1.33. Celta Vigo wins at 10. Line for the total goals set at 3.5. I was kind of skeptical of Barcelona coming into the season, but since they acquired João Felix, they've looked great.
Yeah, yeah. Look great. They're also doing it better than I expected. Um, they played during the week against Antwerp. It was also a very convincing game.
Very
They
easy
weren't
win.
even they weren't even at their best. They were just playing around with
Yeah,
Antwerp. Of course, Antwerp is the champion of Belgium, but yeah, but they lost a few of their key players. Um, so it's gonna be a win for Barcelona. I don't have much to say about this match. Celta Vigo, I don't think they will be able to do something against Barcelona. Like I said, they Barcelona played during the week, but it wasn't really a game for them where they used a lot of their energy. So um, easy win for Barcelona.
yeah. Also, they played at home, so no travel. Last week they also played at home against Betis. Now they're coming home again, so like three and three home games and back to back to back. They scored 10 goals in the last 2 games, so kind of on fire in their attack. And they have kept both in the games and they have kept clean sheets. So I expect nothing else than a Barcelona win. I think you said everything that needed to be said. I'm also staying away from this game. If you really want to do something, the both teams to score is kind of intriguing, given the fact they've kept back-to-back clean sheet. Celta hasn't scored in the last game against Mallorca, so you can look to play both teams to score, but I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Almeria versus Valencia. Almeria wins at 3.05. Valencia wins at 2.4. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going in this game?
These games are usually tricky ones. You know, Almeria they haven't won yet.
Nope,
Um,
dead last.
they yeah, yeah. That last Valencia, what are they like fifth or sixth? Something like
They're
that.
fifth. Yeah, they're fifth.
Yeah, fifth. Yeah. So Valencia, they have of course they have a bigger chance of winning. They have really interesting art. They have a really interesting art. It's 2.4. Yeah, yeah, yeah for Valencia.
And
But
Valencia and
Valencia,
Valencia also coming off a great win against Atletico.
yeah, they had a good win against Atletico. Valencia doesn't play in Europe this season, so
No, no, no.
so you would say that they will take the form that they have against Atletico. They will take it to an Almeria. Almeria, of course, not really a team that you would consider a problem for Valencia normally. I would really go for the Valencia, especially if the odds are really. I don't know why the odds are so high. It's really maybe are there like injuries?
No, no,
Do
no.
they have
Not not
injuries
not key.
or
No.
suspensions?
Not key injuries to Sevilla, to Valencia. But Valencia hasn't been a great road team, and especially last year, they really struggled on the road. So I think that's why the odds are that high for Valencia. Also, Amelia, yeah, kind of a tricky opponent. They haven't won yet. Going home, they want to pick up some points, and of course, Valencia they won very convincingly against Atletico Madrid last week. So
Yeah,
maybe a letdown spot, maybe a letdown spot. So I think that that's why the odds are that high. For me, I'm looking to play the over 2.5 goals. If you look at the last 6 meetings between these two teams, the over 2.5 has hit in every single one of them. Some games even over 3.5. So given the fact that Almeria hasn't won yet, They want to get some points, so they should probably score. Valencia, I also like them to score. And for me, this game, I'm leaning towards Valencia, but it could go either way. I like the over 2.5 goals in this game. Some good value there. All right. Next up, Real Sociedad versus Getafe. Real Sociedad wins at 1.6. Getafe wins at 7.5. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going this game?
I have to lean towards Real Sociedad in this one. Yeah, you know they played during the week, but still they need to start finding their form somewhere. Getafe, of course, they are like what are they like fifth or seventh or eighth? Yeah, eighth in the competition.
No, Getafe is
Um,
9. Getafe is 9. Sociedad's 11.
oh, 1911. Okay. Yeah, but I really lean towards Real Sociedad, and especially because they're playing at home. Getafe, the odds are really high for Getafe. It's like 7.5, really high. But still, Real Sociedad. You know, they played during the week. It was against Inter. But I think that they got a little bit confidence from play against Inter, and now they're playing at home. So I think that it's a win for Real Sociedad. I'm staying away from this game. Getafe really interesting out, but I think it will just be a Real Sociedad win.
Yeah, I agree with you. It should be a Real Sociedad win. The thing that concerns me is I kind of picked Sociedad in a lot of the early games during the season, and they've kind of disappointed a lot of those times. They drew against Girona, drew against Celta, drew against Las Palmas. Okay, they won against Granada, but everybody wins against Granada, and then they lost against Real Madrid. So I'm not that confident in Sociedad, but I'm even less confident in Getafe. So I'm leaning towards Real Sociedad, but it's just a lean. Maybe a draw is possible. Not sure. Uh, kind of have trouble scoring aside from this 5 goals they scored against Granada. So draw maybe on the board here, but I'm staying away from this game. Just a lean towards Real Sociedad. All right, next up, Rayo Vallecano versus Villarreal. Rayo wins at 2.55. Villarreal wins at 2.85. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Now, Villarreal coming off the Thursday performance against Panathinaikos lost. So can they bounce back?
Yeah, because it's always difficult when you play away during the week and you lose that game. Also, it's like it
Exactly.
does
Not a lot of
much.
confidence heading into a road
No,
game in the
no.
competition.
Yeah. So it's does something to the confidence, and of course you're gonna play against the team that won the last game,
Yeah,
Rayo Vallecano.
they're sneaky good. They're sneaky good, especially at
Yeah,
home.
especially at home. But still, Villarreal, the team that they are like you know required to win from Rayo Vallecano. Only because of that, I am leaning towards Villarreal. I'm I'm hesitating, and usually when I hesitate, I go for the highest odds. And Villarreal, they have the highest odds on this one. It doesn't the difference isn't much, but I would go for Villarreal on this one.
I'm going the other way. I'm going for Rayo. I don't like to back teams coming off in a or kind of low in confidence. You know, like you said, they lost against Panathinaikos. They played Thursday. They were on the road. Now they go on the road again against Rayo. I know Rayo lost 7-0 to Atletico in one of their home games, but other than that, they kind of have a decent goal difference, 6-1. So I like Rayo in this spot. I don't have to mess a lot, but I really like Rayo in this spot. All right. Next up, Las Palmas versus Granada. Las Palmas wins at 2.05. Granada wins at 3.95. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going this game?
This game is one to really, yeah. You can't you can't really point something out that you know that gives you the um, that convinces you that yeah, Las Palmas is better. Or, no, Granada's better
No,
because
you
Las
can't you can't
Palmas they didn't win yet.
no.
They haven't won a game yet. Yeah, Granada they won one time against
Mallorca.
Mallorca, against Mallorca, and they lost the rest. Everything is pointing towards the draw in this game. Interesting odds, but I don't think Las Palmas will win their first game against Granada. I'm really I I'm not even thinking that Las Palmas will win a game this season the way they're playing. But for me, I'm staying away from this match. I'm leaning more towards the draw.
I'm leaning more towards Granada, but they're playing on the road. They're not that good. Both teams lost 4 games. It's hard to back any of these teams with any confidence. Um, but it's, it kind of baffles me that the odds for Las Palmas are that low. I know they're playing at home, but still, there's not a lot that separates these two teams. So I'm leaning towards Granada, but both teams are terrible, so I'm staying away from this game. Las
Yeah,
yeah,
you
Las
also
Palmas.
yes.
Las Palmas has only scored 1 goal. It's only scored 1 goal. They really have trouble finding the net. So at least Granada has scored like 9 goals. So that's the reason I'm leaning towards Granada. But they're playing on the road. Not very good. I'm staying away.
Yeah, if you're in for a wild bet, then you should then you should go
Yeah, you could
for
sprinkle some
the
money on
Granada.
Granada. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Real Betis versus Cadiz. Real Betis wins at 1.88. Cadiz wins at 4.6. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Real Betis also one of these teams to have played Thursday against the Rangers. So what can we expect?
Yeah, same thing again. You know, they played away, so they played in Scotland against Rangers, and they lost. Doesn't do a lot with your doesn't do anything positive with your confidence. And the last game they played against home, they played against Cadiz. They played at home. They lost that one also. Uh, yeah, Manuel Pellegrini, like I said, one of my favorite coaches, but I think he's a little bit in trouble this season. I'm also not really convinced that Cadiz will win this one, um, only because it's Real Betis and they're playing at home. I'm leaning more towards Real Betis.
All right. Now I like Real Betis in this spot. Cadiz, no, I don't think Cadiz is that good. Um, Real Betis, actually, you're right. Coach might be on the hot seat. Not a lot of confidence heading into this game. Got a chance by Barcelona 5-0. Um, and okay, of course, after that they won. And no, they lost 5-0 against Barcelona. Then they lost 1-0 against Rangers, also on the road. Now they come back home. I know they want to get a win. So maybe kind of a reason to back them in this game, but I don't really like them. It's the lean for me towards the Betis.
Yeah,
All right, next up, maybe the game of the week in La
yeah.
Liga. Atletico
Yeah.
Madrid versus Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid wins at 2.9. Real Madrid wins at 2.6. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. So, where are you going this game?
I know that I think you're staying away from this game.
Not, I
Maybe,
might
but
surprise you. I might surprise you.
oh
I
yeah,
might
yeah, might
surprise you.
surprise me. Okay, but believe it or not, I'm leaning more towards Real. I think they are in a really good form. They didn't lose yet. That maybe can that maybe makes me hesitate a little bit because they didn't drop any points yet. But 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 the way that they play, um, um, I think Atletico Madrid. Uh, yeah, they played Atletico Madrid. They also played
Yeah,
during the week.
they played against Lazio. They played on the road. They
Yeah, they
drew
played on the
1-1.
road. It was a draw, yeah. And Lazio isn't really uh, at their best now Italy
Yeah, I
also.
know.
But on the other hand, Real played against Union Berlin. They played at home. It was only 1-0. Did they play with their strongest 11?
Yeah, they did, but and they kind of dominated in the game. They really dominated possession. It was just that kind of unfortunate not to score. They had 31 goal attempts and seven shots on goal. Union kind of parked the bus. So and that's a slight concern for me for Real Madrid. They win their games by the slightest margin. They won 2-1 against Sociedad. Sociedad had to come back and from behind. They won 2-1 against Getafe. They won 1-0 against Celta Vigo. So on a positive side, they win their games. They find ways to win. On the other hand, they win by the slightest margins. So that kind of gives me some concern.
Mm. Okay, yeah, yeah, but still, I'm leaning. Atletico Madrid always extra motivated when they play against Real. Um, but um, but I'm leaning more towards Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid will win this one. Or you can go for the over 2.5. Maybe they usually always score more
Yeah,
than
but
goals.
if you look at the last four games, the over 2.5 has only hit in one of those games.
No.
So yeah, so maybe there's a bigger chance it hits in this game. I don't know. I would stay away from the over 2.5. I would just go with the Real Madrid win. Like I said, I might surprise you. I don't like betting Real Madrid since they're my favorite team, but
Yeah.
I'm going with Real Madrid as my third lock for this weekend.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, Atletico Madrid, they're not playing good at all. They were second best against Lazio. Very fortunate to come away with a draw. Like I said, thing that concerns me is Real Madrid wins by the slightest margins, but they find ways to win. So that's also positive. I like Real Madrid to win this game. So for me, third lock of the week.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Yeah, I think they'll win.
all right. That wraps up La Liga. Next up, Bundesliga. First game on the schedule, Stuttgart versus Darmstadt. Stuttgart wins at 1.4, Darmstadt wins at 8. Line for the total goals set at 3.5. What do we got in this game?
I know it's a Friday. It's a Friday game, but Darmstadt. Yeah, no, it will be really, really a really big surprise if Stuttgart doesn't win this one. Um, I'm staying away from this game. For me, it's a easy win for Stuttgart. Um, Darmstadt, I think they didn't win yet. Even they didn't win a
No,
game yet.
no. They almost won last week. They were up 3-0 against Mönchengladbach, but
Yeah,
they received
and they
they
still
received a red card, and then yeah, they kind of gave the game away. So they haven't won yet.
yeah. No, for me, it's a easy win for Stuttgart. I'm staying away from this game. Not really interesting bet.
I agree with you. I'm also staying away from this game. I don't expect Darmstadt to get anything out of this game. But Stuttgart have a really great offense. So if I were to do something in this game, I would look to play a three-way handicap with Stuttgart. That Stuttgart wins with at least a two-goal difference. That's an odd of 2-1, so some good value there. So I expect Stuttgart to score at least twice in this game. Not sure Darmstadt scores, so I like Stuttgart, but staying away from this game. All right, next up, Borussia Dortmund versus Wolfsburg. Borussia Dortmund wins at 1.68. Wolfsburg wins at 4.6. Line for the total goals set at 3.5. Where are you going this game?
This is a very interesting one, also. Um, of course, Dortmund lost during the week against PSG. They played in France. Also, one of those matches where the players' confidence goes a little bit down. But it's against Wolfsburg. Yeah, Wolfsburg. They 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 won like 4 games already. Um, and they're playing away, so that's why it's winning in Dortmund. It's something else, and Dortmund, of course, um, the last 4 games weren't really yeah, perfect games for them.
Not
They,
impressive at all.
yeah, they only won against Freiburg. Now they're playing at home. My feeling says that that they will win this one. Wolfsburg, I think they'll lose their second game of the season.
Uh, I have a hard time picking Dortmund. I know I picked them last week against Freiburg, but I don't think Freiburg is that good. And even and even though Freiburg had to go down to 10 men for Dortmund to really come back in that game and get the win. So I'm not that confident in Dortmund. Still not convinced the coach really knows what he's doing. So I'm staying away from this game, but I'm leaning more towards Wolfsburg. I'm really leaning towards Wolfsburg to pick up the upset, and the odds are very interesting, 4.6. Also, what's interesting is Wolfsburg scoring more than once, over 1.5 goals set at 2.4. Dortmund very vulnerable at the back, as we saw against Freiburg. They allowed 2 goals in the stoppage time of the first half. So and they also allowed 2 goals against PSG. So you could look to play Wolfsburg at over 1.5 goals, and I'm leaning towards a Wolfsburg win. I know, like you said, in Dortmund at home, maybe difficult, kind of a hostile environment. So that gives me
Yeah,
some concern, but I'm leaning towards Wolfsburg.
but you're thinking about Salt Baying a little bit on Wolfsburg.
Yeah. I might salt bay a little bit on Wolfsburg. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not a yeah, it's not a bad way to go. Of course, Wolfsburg um, playing
Yeah,
decent team.
they'll have the fresher legs, given that they've not played in midweek. Dortmund traveled and they were on the road against PSG. I know they're coming home right now, like I said, hostile environment. But I'm leaning towards Wolfsburg, and I also like Wolfsburg to score over 1.5 goals.
Yeah.
All right, next up,
Okay.
Union Berlin versus Hoffenheim. Union Berlin wins at 2.12. Hoffenheim wins at 3.4. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Who do you like in this game?
For me, I was looking at this game already last weekend. I think Hoffenheim's winning streak will stop here. Um, yeah, Union Berlin, of course, they lost the last 3 games. They played away against Real, but I'm sure that the players already knew that they weren't going to win that one. So I don't think it really did something to their confidence. I think it boosted their confidence because it was only 1-0. So I think they went there with an imagination of oh please not not 5 or 6 goals against it. So 1-0, I think, yeah, their confidence went a little bit up. Um, Hoffenheim, they won the last 4 games. Yeah, and Union Berlin lost the last three games, and that's usually a recipe for a surprise. Union, they're playing at home, so for that reason, mm, I'm going for Union Berlin
All
this
right,
week.
I agree with almost everything you said, which is why I have Union Berlin as my fourth lock for this week. I really like Union Berlin this spot. Um,
Your fourth, it's yeah, your fourth lock. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They
Juventus,
they are
Napoli.
also my fourth lock.
Okay, Juventus, Napoli, Real Madrid. Now I have Union as my fourth lock for this week. Union coming back home. They had one of the longest unbeaten streaks at home before it ended to Leipzig. Um, kind of unfortunate. Then they went on the road against Wolfsburg, lost. Played on the road against Real Madrid, lost. Now they come back home against a kind of a mediocre Hoffenheim team. I know they won 3 straight in the Bundesliga, 4 straight overall, but I like Union in this game. I really love I really love Union in this game. I'm going with Union as my fourth lock for this week.
Yeah, me also.
And also when Hoffenheim playing back-to-back road games, like I know Union has an extra game under their belt given the fact that they've played midweek, but teams playing back-to-back road games also in a slight concern. And Hoffenheim isn't a great team, so really good spot for Union.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
All right, next up, Augsburg versus Mainz. Augsburg wins at 2.65, Mainz wins at 2.6. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where you got who you going this game?
Draw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it smells like a draw. It smells
this
like a
is
draw.
a yeah, yeah, this is a yeah, recipe draw game here. It's a yeah. Both of them, I think Augsburg didn't win yet. They didn't have a win yet, and also or Mainz also not. Right?
Nope, nope. Both teams
Yeah,
winless.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, they yeah. Only the difference is 1 point.
Yeah, yeah.
Just 1 point. Yeah. So yeah. For me, it's definitely a draw. I'm staying away from this game because these games are always the ones that are messing up your bet slips. So if you want to do something for this game, I don't know, it's under 2.5 maybe. that's that's the way to go. But I don't think you will get a lot for that also. So I'm staying away from this game. It's really not interesting bet.
I agree with everything you said, and I also agree that it smells like a draw. But if you look at the head-to-head matchup, the last time these two teams drew in the Bundesliga was back in 2015. So since then, there has always been a winner. That kind of stinks. That kind of
Yeah,
stinks.
yeah, but you know what that means.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
This time
okay.
they'll draw.
Maybe so, maybe so, maybe so. But it kind of baffles me, man. Always a winner since 2015. So that kind of gives me some cause to pause. And I also don't like betting a draw. So I'm staying away from this game. Uh, really hard to separate these two teams. So I'm staying away from this game. But I wouldn't bet a draw. I wouldn't bet a draw. Although it really smells like a draw, I wouldn't bet a draw. There's almost always a winner in in this matchup.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
then it should be Augsburg then because
Yeah.
the
Then
last four it was Augsburg win and then Mainz win and then
And Mainz
Mainz
won
won. Yeah.
the last two matchups.
Oh
Mainz
yeah,
won the last
Mainz
two
won. Yes.
matchups.
So then you would
But
lean more towards Augsburg then.
yeah, I would go for the home team in this one.
Yeah.
But slight lean. That's actually just staying away from this game. Really staying away from
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah, me also. I stay away from this one.
All right. Next up, Mönchengladbach versus Leipzig. Gladbach fought their way back to a draw against Darmstadt last weekend after Darmstadt picked up a red card. And Gladbach wins at 5.2, Leipzig wins at 1.6, line for total goals set at 3.5. Leipzig, very good form since they lost against Leverkusen. Can they continue that here?
Yeah, and yeah, but they played during the week, but it was a young against young boys. Young boys
Yes.
is from Switzerland. It's Switzerland, right?
Yeah, right.
Young
Yeah,
boys.
Switzerland.
Yeah, yeah. They went to Switzerland and they won. Of course, it was a easy win for them against Mönchengladbach. Of course, they got lucky last time out against Darmstadt. Leipzig, they're playing away, but still, I think it won't be too much trouble for them to win this one. So for me, it's a Leipzig win also this weekend.
Yeah, Leipzig is
They'll
the better
continue the
team.
streak.
Leipzig is the better team. They should win and continue their winning streak. But the last three games, and they played at Gladbach. Gladbach won all three games. So, and Gladbach is a sneaky good home team. On the road, they're completely different. They're just terrible, awful. But at home, they're sneaky good, especially against good teams. You know, they always give Bayern Munich some trouble. So they're a sneaky good home team. Won the last three against Leipzig at home. So that's for me a reason to stay away from this game. Because I don't have very much confidence in Gladbach that they're winning this game, given how they started the season. But I wouldn't bet Leipzig. It feels like a tricky game, so I'm staying away from this game. Although
Yeah,
I would
me
expect
also.
Leipzig to win. All right.
Yeah, of course. I think they'll win also, but I'm also staying away from this one.
Yeah,
The odds for Leipzig are not that high, so it's really not
yeah,
interesting.
and Gladbach, sneaky good opponent at home, although they've been bad this season. All right. Next up, Bayern Munich versus Bochum. Oh my God. Bayern Munich wins at one. Bayern Munich wins at
Fucking laugh.
1.10. Bochum wins at 25. Line for the total goal set at 4.5. Sergio, can we skip this game?
Yes, I think Bochum can also skip this game and just go to the next one. Just go to the next one. But of course, the last four matches for Bochum was a draw. Um, but I don't think that will happen against Bayern. I think they'll lose again. Of course, no, nothing interesting to say about this game.
All right.
We
I'm
can just
glad. All
skip
right.
this one.
Let's skip this game. All right. All right. Next up, Werder Bremen versus Keulen. Also almost a pick 'em. Werder Bremen wins at 2.6. Keulen wins at 2.65. Line for total goals set at 2.5. What do you like in this game?
Um, just because Werder Bremen is playing at home and their odds are really interesting, I would lean towards Werder Bremen. Um, Köln, I think they just won one game.
No, they still winless. They won in a
Ah,
club. They won a club friendly, but that's just a friendly.
yeah, right. It was a club friendly. Yes, yes. Yeah, that's the game.
Other
Okay,
than that,
so
they've been winless in the Bundesliga.
yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so that's why I say yeah. I'm leaning more towards Werder Bremen. They're playing at home. They lost the the last game against Heidenheim. Before
Which is
that,
kind of
they won
concerning.
two in a row.
No, which is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, but that
concerning.
was away. But that was an away game. So
And
hmm.
they've only won one game in the Bundesliga. They won against Mainz, which is dead last. So I don't have a lot of confidence in Werder Bremen. For me, I'm leaning more towards Keulen. but I also don't have a lot of confidence in Keulen, so I'm kind of staying away from this game. Hard to back any of these teams with any confidence, but continue.
but I said Werder Bremen, but it's also only because they're playing at home, and against Köln, yeah, it's a chance for them to get some points. But I'm also staying away from this match.
It's a chance for Werder Bremen to get points, also a chance for Keulen to get some points. Like Werder Bremen is that good. Like I said, they only won against Mainz, who's dead last in the competition right now. They lost against Heidenheim, not very good. They, of course, okay, they lost against Bayern Munich in the first game. We expect that. And then they lost against Freiburg. So I, I'm not convinced about Werder Bremen. Also not convinced about Keulen. But the fact that Keulen are winless, they would want to get some points. This is a good spot for them. I'm just leaning towards Keulen, but I don't really have them as a bet for this week.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Leverkusen versus Heidenheim. Leverkusen wins at 1.24. Heidenheim wins at 12. Line for the total goals set at 3.5. Now, this isn't as wide of a margin as Bayern Munich versus Bochum, but still, can you also skip this game?
Yes, yes, we can also skip this game. Bayer Leverkusen, they're playing at home. Remarkable form they have also, and yeah, okay, Heidenheim won against Werder Bremen, but yeah, no, that doesn't say a lot. So,
Uh,
so I think it was the first win of the season
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
for Heidenheim. I think now they have like 4 points or something. No, but Leverkusen, no, of course, they're like what the top of the table in Germany. So yeah, no, it's an easy win for Leverkusen, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I agree there. They only drew against Bayern Munich, and it was at Bayern Munich, so at the Allianz Arena. So
Yeah,
actually a good and good to pick up some points there. Like Leverkusen is the better team. You said everything that needs to be said. Let's just skip this game. Right.
yeah.
Next up, last game in the Bundesliga: Eintracht Frankfurt versus Freiburg. Both teams played during midweek. Eintracht Frankfurt played at home. Freiburg played away against Olympiacos. Eintracht Frankfurt wins at 2.02. Freiburg wins at 3.65. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going?
Um, they almost have similar form. These two teams. That you can also see that in the standings, the table. Both have 6 points. 9 and 10. They both won like two games. They won in the Bundesliga,
Uh,
I think.
did they win two games? No, no, they won one
Or
game.
one game. Yeah, one game. Yeah. So it's only difference is that
No,
Frankfurt.
Freiburg won two games. Frankfurt won one game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and and they drew two games, I think. Yeah, but still, this one is a real difficult one, and also if you look at the odds, it's leaning more towards Frankfurt. I think that's because they're playing at home. Um, you would go for Frankfurt, but honestly, I'm staying away from this one. It's a it's a difficult one because Frankfurt, they played at home against Aberdeen.
Yeah,
Um,
they won. They won. Not
they won
convincingly,
also.
but they won. Um,
Yeah, Freiburg played away, but they also won. Only because they traveled, I would lean more towards Frankfurt.
that's the exact reason why I'm picking Frankfurt now. I don't have them as a lock, but I like Frankfurt in this game. They stayed at home. Freiburg had to travel. Also, Freiburg played against Dortmund in last week. They received a red card, right, 82nd minute. Kind of an intense matchup. They allowed two goals after the red card. So slightly low on confidence. I know they won against Olympiacos, so that maybe kind of boosted their confidence, but I'm going with Frankfurt in this game. Not as a lock, but I really like Frankfurt as a bet.
Yeah.
All right. that wraps up the Bundesliga. We will take a quick break and we'll be back with the Eredivisie. Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing with the Eredivisie. We kind of skipped one game in the Serie A, Lazio versus Monza. Now we will go on with the Eredivisie and then the Premier League, and then we will give out the last pick of the Serie A, Lazio versus Monza. Sorry for that one. All right, let's get to it. First game in the Eredivisie. Go Ahead Eagles versus Fortuna Sittard. Go Ahead Eagles wins at 2.18. Fortuna wins at 3.25. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Who do you like in this game, Sergio?
Well, here we go again. It's a Friday game. Fortuna Sittard against Go Ahead Eagles. Two teams that are, when they play against each other, they're usually evenly matched. But Go Ahead Eagles, they're playing at home and they are in a slightly better form. Go Ahead Eagles. Fortuna, of course, they won the last game against Volendam, but Volendam is a little bit in disarray, so to say, and Go Ahead, for me, are in a little better form, and also head to head, Go Ahead won the last two games. But only because they're playing at home, I'm leaning more towards Go Ahead Eagles. It's Friday, so I'm staying away from this one actually.
All right, yeah, me, I'm also staying away from this game. This game also kind of stinks for me. Fortuna looks kind of better, but Go Ahead Eagles has been good at home. I don't think there's really that much that separates these two teams, although the line would tell you different. So I'm kind of staying away from this game. Yes, I'm staying away from this game, not betting this game. All right. Next up, Volendam versus Heracles. Volendam wins at 2.85. Heracles wins at 2.38. Line for total goals set at 3.5. Where are you going here?
You have to go for Almelo in this one. Volendam, man, they're it's really terrible what's happening there. They lost, of course, they lost 4 games in a row. The chances are really there that it's gonna be their 5th in a row.
I would agree.
Almelo plays a lot better. They're also in a lot better form. They already won 2 games against NEC and against Excelsior. Yeah, and Volendam isn't that much better than those two, or even that better. I think they're worse than those two.
They're actually worse. Like Volendam has lost. Volendam has lost all 4 games. They're dead last in the competition. Only scored 3 goals. They look like the worst team in the Eredivisie. Maybe them and Almere City.
And Almere City, yes. But still, I'm going for Heracles Almelo in this one. For this one, it's Heracles Almelo, and that is my my 5th lock for the weekend. Heracles Almelo at odd 235.
Yeah. Here I got it at 238, and but still really good value. And I agree with you. There's actually no other way to go than Heracles. They're playing playing on the road, so slight concern, but really slight because Volendam's bad. Volendam's really bad. Like you said, they're bad. They're terrible. Any other word you want to take to describe them. So you can't go any other way than back Heracles in this game. So I don't have them as a lock, but I like it. It's a good bet. Heracles wins.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, NEC versus Utrecht. NEC wins at 2.75. Utrecht wins at 2.55. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Utrecht won their first game against Heracles. They actually benefited from the new manager bounce. So was that
Yes,
luck,
yes.
or will that continue here?
No, no, no. Actually, Ron Jans he really turned things around there. He changed the starting 11. They were playing really really well against
Heracles, yeah.
Amelo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they were playing away. And Utrecht, the 4 games before, away games was like a guaranteed loss for them. So no, Ron Jans, of course, he's one of my favorite trainers in the Eredivisie. He really switched things around. He was of course manager of Twente last season, and he also did it very well there. So I'm really confident that he can keep it up. Um, NEC, uh, 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 actually, they're the ones that are not playing that well, not in not in good form. They only won against
Akasi.
RKC. Yeah, but RKC is also a really a team that's one of the candidates to
Yeah, they're dirt from the bottom.
yeah,
They're also one of the worst teams in the Eredivisie.
yeah. So for me, Utrecht is definitely the way to go. I don't think it was a one-off. The only problem is that it's the second game, the second away game in a row. That
Back-to-back road games.
yeah, that may be cause for a little bit concern, but still I'm leaning towards Utrecht because they really turned things around, and the way they played, I think NEC is gonna have a hard time even getting a point maybe.
Yeah, I'm also leaning towards Utrecht. Like you said, back-to-back road games, that's the slight concern. But NEC, they haven't been good. They only won against RKC. Uh, they're not playing good football. Utrecht is the way to go in this game. So for me, also Utrecht as a bet, not as a lock, but Utrecht as a bet.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Almere City versus PSG. Oh my God. Almere City, 14. With PSG, 1.21. Line for total goals, 3.5. Let's just skip this game. All right, shall we?
Yeah, but maybe for the listeners, just to just to confirm that, yeah, PSV, of course, they played during the week, but still they actually got a beating from Arsenal, lost 4-0. But I don't think that will be any problem for them now. Almere City is the perfect opponent
Yes.
uh,
Yes,
to
to bounce back.
to bounce back. So yeah, it's no. I think Almere City, they got their point last week.
Yes, so
Uh,
they're good until the winter break.
to the winter break, yeah.
Okay, not much not much to add for this game. You said
No.
everything that needed to be said. All right, let's get to the next game. Heerenveen versus Excelsior. Heerenveen wins at 1.67. Excelsior wins at 5.10. Line for a total goal set at 3.5. Where are you going this game?
Heerenveen, they lost 3 games in a row. That's the only reason why I think that they will win this one, because the last 3 games they played really really terrible, especially the last one against Feyenoord. They lost 6-1. People say that Feyenoord was that good, but I'm also looking at Heerenveen. They were also really bad.
Both things can
Um,
be true. Both things can be true.
yeah, yeah. So only for that, I'm only because of that I'm leaning towards Heerenveen. I don't think they will lose 4 games in a row. Excelsior,
Hasn't won yet.
they didn't. They haven't won yet. So that's why I also think that Excelsior is the perfect opponent for Heerenveen to start their winning ways again. So for me, it's Heerenveen, but it's not a bet. Really not an interesting odd. It's just for people that maybe want want to have an extra game on their bet slip, a little bit security, then Heerenveen is the way to go.
I like Heerenveen. I don't think that's really a secure bet. Like Heerenveen, really a tricky opponent, a tricky team. Um, Excelsior isn't that good, so I agree with you. Heerenveen should get back to winning ways, but I'm not that confident. So I'm staying away from this game. Like you said, not a lot of value in betting Heerenveen. So I there's also not no such thing as a guarantee in sports. And if there's
No.
an and if there's a team in the Eredivisie, you almost can't guarantee they're going to win a game. It's opponent like Heerenveen. Usually when they're favorites, they kind of let down, draw a game or something. Like, I expect them to win this game, but I'm staying away from this game, not betting it. Not a lot of value. All right, next up, Sparta versus what looked like the worst team in the Eredivisie last week, Vitesse. Sparta wins at 1.89. Vitesse wins at 4.10. Line for total gets set at 2.5. Oh my God, Vitesse look bad. Oh my God, they look bad.
Yeah. It was a really, really, really bad performance. From Vitesse. You would say the two games before they play against PSV and AZ. Then you thought that those are two games that you can lose if you're Vitesse, but then you play against RK,
Okay,
RKC
okay.
and,
Yeah.
and
Oh my God.
and they played even worse. So so I'm afraid they will lose 4 games in a row, sadly, because Sparta at home, they're really good. Sparta lost last week against AZ, but
Asset.
of course that can happen. They were playing away. Um, the game against NEC also wasn't that good. Only reason why NEC just conceded 1 goal is because they have a decent goalkeeper. But Sparta for me will win this one. I think it's at 1.86. It's a really interesting bet. I would go for Sparta.
Yeah, I got it at 1.89, so slightly more value. You hit the nail on the head. There's no other way to go than Sparta in this game. Vitesse, oh my God, they look awful. When they played against an asset, like I told you, like okay, you expect them to lose, but how they lost? The first shot on target was in extra time in the last minute of the game. So that was a real concern. I don't expect them to get anything from this game. Uh, Sparta is the way to go.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next up, game of the week in the Eredivisie. Ajax
Yes.
versus Feyenoord. Ajax wins at 2.8. Feyenoord wins at 2.48. Line for the total goals set at 3.5. Now, this line opened up as Ajax being favorite right before the kickoff game against FC Twente. Now, when they lost against Twente, it quickly switched to Feyenoord being favorite. Now, I like Feyenoord as an underdog, still like them as a favorite. Now we pre-discussed this game, and you said in a kind of maybe a good spot for Ajax. So
Yes, yes. Usually, look, Feyenoord usually doesn't win in the arena. So, but if there was ever a time for them,
the time is
chance for
now.
them to win, it's now. But on the other hand, it's still Ajax, and like the arch enemy is coming to visit. You got like the whole country making fun of Ajax at the moment. Team in disarray. They have players that can communicate with each other. They have a trainer that really, for me, is I still don't understand why they chose him. He's not a real good tactical trainer.
Not at all.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm leaning towards Feyenoord, but only because Ajax is playing at home and it's the arch enemy. I really think that they will try their utter best to still perform at their best. Ajax played during the week. They played against Marseille. It was really disappointed. It was a disappointment for them because they were up 2-0 and
Ended up in a 3-3
after
draw.
that yeah, it ended in a 3-3 draw. So that also didn't help their confidence, I think. Um, the door's wide open for Feyenoord. Um,
And
but if I need to choose, uh, I would still go for Feyenoord after what happened this week.
okay, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
all right. Um, like you said, Feyenoord, they have a hard time winning in the arena. But last year they did. They won 3-2.
yeah,
And the last time before last year was back in 2005. So kind of like once once every 2 decades,
two
once every
decades.
two decades they win they win at Ajax.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's one of my only concerns also.
yeah, so that's a slight concern for me. Um, like you said, if there's ever a time to pick up back-to-back wins in the arena against Ajax for Feyenoord,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
should it should be
it's
now.
now.
It should
Yeah,
be
the
now.
time is now. Yes.
Now, like we said, Ajax at home maybe a slight concern, arch rival. So the way for me to go in this game is Feyenoord over 1.5 goals. Set at 1.89. I think that's some good value. I expect Feyenoord to win, but if if they were not to win, I still like them to score more than one goal. As you saw against Marseille, Ajax very vulnerable at the back. You saw that also on display against Twente. So I expect Feyenoord to score at least twice in this game. Like Feyenoord, actually also a sneaky good attack. They've scored 6 goals against Heerenveen in the last match. They also
Yeah, yeah,
scored 6 goals against Almere City, right?
yeah.
They scored 5 goals against Utrecht, although Utrecht was in disarray, but still. So they have a potent attack. I like Feyenoord to score in a more over 1.5 goals. They
Yeah.
scored
And
19
Jimenez
goals.
will play again.
Yes,
Jimenez will
Jimenez
play
will
again.
play again. He was just suspended for the Champions League game, but
Yeah.
Jimenez will play again. So 19 goals in 5 games. It should hit the over 1.5 easily.
Okay, yeah, but Feyenoord is actually my sixth lock for the weekend.
Oh, all right. Okay, you said okay. All
No,
right.
no, 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 no. I lost all the confidence in
Okay.
Ajax
All right.
during the
All
week,
right.
and
Okay.
and there's also something wrong with their technical manager.
Yeah. Yeah. True. 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 True.
He
Yeah.
did some really cheeky stuff
Yeah. Disturbing
with a
stuff.
few transfers or with one
Yeah.
transfer.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ajax is a little bit in disarray, like I said. So I'm going for Feyenoord. It's my
Yeah.
sixth lock.
All right. You have Feyenoord as a win. I have Feyenoord over 1.5 goals as my fifth lock. So, all right.
Yeah,
Next up, Peck versus Asset. Peck wins at 5. Asset wins at 1.67. Time for total goals set at 2.5. Asset being up 3-0 against a team's name I can't even pronounce. Uh,
yeah. It's
still,
only
still
thing
they
I
lost
know about
4-3.
it.
Still
Yeah,
they
yeah,
lost 4-3.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened?
yeah. It was like the first half. They were like really playing a really good game, but second half, I don't know what happened. It was arrogance. It was yeah. It had to be arrogance because they weren't even trying anymore to score a goal, and the other team was like motivated, and I don't know. It's like I can't even pronounce the name. It's Mostar. Mostar.
Swininski.
Mostar.
Swininski.
yeah. So anyway, I think it did something to the confidence. But on the other hand, Swallow is definitely a team for AZ to
To
bounce
bounce
back
back.
on.
Yeah.
So I'm going. I'm still going for the AZ to win this one. Um, Pax Waller, they already won 2 games and 1 draw. Um, so I think they will lose again, and AZ will use this game as an opportunity to bounce back in the Eredivisie to at least keep a clean sheet in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if they'll keep a clean sheet, but I expect them to win. If you're really convinced Asset will win, like we are, it's actually sneaky good value betting Asset to win 1.67. Sneaky good value against actually it looks like a bad opponent against an pack. So look to play Asset at 1.67. I don't have them as a lock, but sneaky good value as a bet. All right. Next up, last game. RKC versus FC Twente. RKC won their first game against Vitesse.
Yeah.
RKC wins 6.25. Twente wins at 1.53. Line for total goals set at 3.5. Any other way to go than Twente?
No. This is the same situation as PSV or AZ. They're playing away, but still, Twente RKC won't be a problem for them. Twente plays very good football. They're in a really good form, and RKC got a little bit lucky to play against a really bad Vitesse to get their first 3 points. They won't be that lucky against Twente. So it's a Twente win. Not an interesting odd, so I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Twente should win. Not an interesting bet. So also staying away from that game. All right. That wraps up Eredivisie. Last up, Premier League. Manchester City versus Nottingham Forest. This also seems like a game we can skip. Manchester City wins
Yeah.
wins at 1.16.
What do I say?
Forest wins at 21. Line for total goal set at 3.5. Anything to say?
Yeah, maybe the 3.5, but yeah, that will also be a risk actually. But no, we can skip this one.
All right.
Manchester City will win, of course. Yeah,
Fully
no
agree.
problem
Fully
there.
agree. Next up, Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Crystal Palace wins at 1.96. Fulham wins at 4.4. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Where are you going?
It's yeah, it's for Fulham. Fulham, there you can not really put a finger on their form at the moment. They won against Luton, and they which one did they win again? Luton? No, only Luton.
No,
They're only
yeah,
winning.
look, now they won the first game of the Premier League against Everton. They won two
Ah,
games.
yeah, right against Everton. Yeah, right. Yeah, so actually, I'm not really convinced that Fulham will will win from Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, of course, lost against Aston Villa last time out, but but the 2 games before that, they won. It was against Plymouth, but that wasn't in
No,
the Premier
yeah,
League.
was the cup game, was the EFL Cup. They won against Wolves, won again in the EFL Cup against Plymouth, and then they drew against Brentford.
Yeah, but only because Crystal Palace is playing at home. I'm leaning more towards Crystal Palace. I think it will be difficult for Fulham to win this away game. They're not really that good. So for me, it's Crystal Palace at home. Yeah, it's a win
Yeah,
for
I
Crystal
agree with
Palace.
you. Fulham not a great away team. Crystal Palace sneaky good home team. So I would lean towards Crystal Palace. One thing I also like is both teams to score at 1.85. Fulham, they have a good attack, solid. So I expect them to score a goal. But for me, I'm also leaning towards Crystal Palace in this game. All right, next up, Luton versus Wolves. Luton wins at 3.45. Wolves wins at 2.28. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Luton kind of looked like the worst team in the Premier League. Now, after the
Yes.
first match, after the first match day, I told you it was Sheffield. After what they had displayed against Crystal Palace, I changed my mind. Sheffield moves up one spot. Luton is now the worst team in the Premier League.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 and yeah, for me, Luton Town is definitely the worst team in the Premier League at the moment. I think they lost all 4 games.
yeah.
They lost 4 games already. Yeah,
And note, they lost against Chelsea. So that tells you how bad they are.
yeah, 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 yes, I agree. I'm definitely going for Wolves on this one. Really interesting. What 2.25? Yeah, high out. I somebody has a lot of confidence in Luton Town, but I don't. Um, Wolves is the way to go in this game.
Yeah, there's no other way to go than Wolves. But I think the odds speaks to the performance of Wolves on the road. Dating back to last season, they're a pretty bad road team. But if there's ever a team you can win against if you're playing on the road, it should be Luton. So Wolves is the way to go. I don't have them as a lock, but I do like them as a bet. Slight chance it goes to a draw, but I really can't see that happening. Luton's really bad. I like Wolves to win this game.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next up, Brentford versus Everton. Brentford wins at 1.75. Everton wins at 5.1. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going?
Uh, Difficult one. Both teams not in the best of form. For me, yeah, Brenton a little bit better, but still I'm not convinced. Um, if I look at these two teams, it looks like a draw for me. I know that Brentford is the favorite in this one, but the way they played the last 2 games, or even the last three
Even the
games,
last three games,
I'm,
yeah.
yeah, I'm really not convinced that they will give Everton too much of a hard time. I'm staying away from this game. For me, it has all the ingredients for a draw, but I'm staying away from this one.
You can do a little salt bay on Everton, sprinkle a little bit. The coach is on the coach is or should be on the hot seat. Like they haven't won a game yet, so you'd expect them to really do their best and get something out of this game. And given the fact that Brentford has did not score in the last game against Newcastle, I really think Brentford should at least get a goal in this game. They're playing at home; they should score. So I have both teams to score as my sixth lock for the weekend. Both teams to score is set at 1.78. So mark that as my sixth lock. Like it's a lean towards Everton. Sorry, it's a lean towards Brentford because they're playing at home. Um, but still, I like Everton. I like Everton to try and get at least a point in this game. So sprinkle a little salt bay on Everton.
Yeah, and Everton. Yeah,
All right.
maybe.
Next up, Burnley versus Manchester United. Burnley wins at 4.4. Manchester United wins at 1.79. Line for the total goals set at 2.5. Where are you going here?
I'm leaning more towards Burnley.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah. I don't know. Manchester United doesn't give me any confidence to even lean their way. But it's Burnley. They just promoted, but still, I have a feeling like every team can cause
United
mayhem when
troubles,
they
yeah.
play against
Yeah, true.
Manchester United. Yeah, Manchester United. Yeah, okay. Against Bayern, they played they played better when they against Bayern.
Yeah, they
They
scored three
scored
goals, which was kind of
they scored
surprising.
3 goals. They scored 3 goals, but the loss against Brighton and the loss against Arsenal, yeah, that's a Burnley should be the team for them to bounce back.
Yes.
But I'm not confident that will happen. I'm stay away from this game, but I would really try like a double chance for for Burnley, even if you want to do something for this match. Yeah, that's because 178 for Manchester United to win. I think it's the risk is too big for the odd.
Yeah, yes.
The
For
odd is
that
too
odd, the
low.
risk is
So
very high.
yeah,
Burnley hasn't looked great since the start of the season. Lost three, drew against Nottingham. Like you said, United's really bad, but they scored three goals against Bayern Munich. So I was starting to wonder, like, have they turned some things around? But I'm not that confident. I'm really not that confident they did. They also have a lot of injuries. Anthony, of course, inactive. Maguire injured, Malacia injured, Mount injured, Sanchez suspended, Luke Shaw injured, Varane injured, Wan-Bissaka injured. So
yeah,
what's the
that's why that's why I
what's the
said
lineup gonna look like? So
yeah.
um, I have a hard time when they're picking this game. I'm staying away from this game, but
Me
uh,
also. But that's why I said it's a double chance for Burnley. That's
yeah,
the
maybe
only
not a bad
thing
bet.
that you
Maybe
can
not.
try. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe not a bad bet, but really hard to separate these two teams, and given how bad Burnley is and United with all the injury concerns and how they've played. So I'm staying away from this game. All right, next up, Liverpool versus West Ham. Liverpool wins at 1.41. West Ham wins at 7.5. Line for the total goal set at 3.5. The West Ham wins at 7.5 is actually disrespectful.
yes, disrespectful. That's why West Ham for me, like an underdog. This this weekend for me, I would definitely go for West Ham this weekend. Even a double chance is 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 something to think about. West Ham played at home during the week. Liverpool needed to travel.
Yeah, but
They both won.
they
Won.
rotated a little bit. They rotated the lineup a little bit. So
Mm. Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe that also. But 7.5, yeah, it's disrespectful
it's very disrespectful.
yeah to West Ham. Yeah, West Ham. Yeah, they lost against Man City. Yeah, that's I think that's a game that you're calculated to lose if you're West Ham. So I would go for a double chance for West Ham.
Yeah, the last time West Ham got anything out of a visit to Anfield was back in 2016 when they drew 2-2. Other than that, Liverpool has won like every home game. And oh my God, it's very tough to win at Anfield. Liverpool is don't matter how poor they're performing, if you visit Anfield, it's almost a guaranteed loss. So that's a concern for me. But like I said, the line 7.5 kind of disrespectful for them, given how West Ham has played. Um, I'm staying away from this game. I'm staying away from
Yeah,
this game. But if you want to do something, double chance maybe not that bad. Maybe just there's an upset for a draw, or maybe you can look to do a three-way handicap where West Ham starts with 2-0, and that line is set at 1.81. So Liverpool would have to win with at least 3 goal difference. Um, I don't really see that happening. So there's some good value for West Ham there. Look to play that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next up, Brighton versus Bournemouth. Brighton wins at 1.43. Bournemouth wins at 8. Line for the total goal set at 3.5. Who do you like in this game?
Brighton's performance last time against Manchester United was that was good. Okay, Brighton, of course, they lost during the week against Athena. Was it? Yeah, yeah. They played against, and they played at home, so they didn't travel. Mm, um, mm, I don't know if the win against Manchester United was I don't know how much value you, you
Yeah,
can
it's
put on
hard
it
to.
because
Yeah,
because Manchester United was a really bad at. Did you see the goal where they had like 30 passes?
yeah,
30
yeah.
passes. They're like 30 passes. Man, it was like really like a Barcelona goal in the Barcelona from 10 years ago or something. Yeah, but still, I'm leaning more towards Brighton to win this one. They're playing at home, um, and the odds are also in their favorite. Bournemouth, no, I don't think. I'm just going for Brighton this one. I'm not betting this game. Not really a lot of value in 1 point. What is it? 42. No.
Yeah, that's no value almost at all, given how in a bad Bournemouth is. So I'm also leaning towards Brighton. I expect them to win this game. I think this is everything that needed to be said. Low value in betting a Brighton win, so I'm also staying away from that game. All right, next up, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Arsenal wins at 1.73. Tottenham wins at 4.6. Line for total goal set at 3.5. Is this line disrespectful to Tottenham? 4.6.
Um, no, no, I don't.
So
I don't think
Arsenal
so.
is that good.
Uh, Arsenal, Arsenal is I think the way they play is it's a lot better than what I see Tottenham doing. So yeah, they played during the week, of
But
course.
very easy win against PSV.
But it was an easy win. They were playing at home. The second half they didn't even play with a lot of pressure, and yeah, they I think they were saving energy for this match, definitely. So I'm definitely leaning towards Arsenal. I think Arsenal at the moment is one of the best teams in the Premier League. Tottenham, not so much. So I'm leaning towards Arsenal to win this one, but I'm staying away from this game also.
Yeah, I'm also leaning towards Arsenal. I have them as a bet, not as a lock, but I have them as a bet. The last time Tottenham won in the Premier League against Arsenal was back in 2010. So that maybe speaks to the line. I was low on Tottenham coming into the season. Then they trounced in Burnley, so got a little bit high on them, and then they escaped against against Sheffield United. So okay, now I'm low again on Tottenham. So I don't know where to go, which way to go with Tottenham. So I have Arsenal as a bet, but I do expect Tottenham to score a goal. They have a good attack. They almost always score a goal. So maybe look to play Arsenal win and both teams to score. Not a bad bet.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, not bad. That's not a bad bet at all.
All right. Next up, Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Chelsea wins at 1.91. Aston Villa wins at 4.1. Line for the total goal set at 2.5. Like if Sheffield, Burnley, and Luton were not in the Premier League, maybe Chelsea would be the worst team in the Premier League, right?
Yeah. Yes, I couldn't agree more. Um, I don't know if you believe me, but I'm seeing Aston Villa winning this game. I don't know. I don't know. I I almost want them as my sixth log Aston Villa. Uh, Chelsea, so it's so terrible what
and
they're
they can,
doing
and
at
they
the
can't
moment.
even score. They can't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
score.
they can't really score, and you know I said it all a few times already. Unai Emery, one of my favorite managers. I think he has something planned for Chelsea. I think Chelsea will be really surprised what's coming at them. So actually, I'm going for Aston Villa. Just like West Ham, I think Aston Villa has a bigger chance of winning. Um, I'm going for Aston Villa with this one. Yeah, and they are my six log.
All right.
I'm going for a Aston Villa win.
Yeah. Like Aston Villa, they lost against Warsaw on Thursday, but Unai Emery rotated heavily. Like Musa Diaby was on the bench, Douglas Luiz was on the bench, Ollie Watkins was on the bench. So I agree with you. He has a trick up on his sleeve for Chelsea. I think really they had an eye on this match. So um, I agree with you. You have to go with Aston Villa win. Chelsea's very bad. Oh my God, they can't even score goals. They have trouble with Bournemouth. They can't score against Nottingham Forest. I know
And
they're.
honestly, what happened to Manchester United last time out will happen to Chelsea. Is that Manchester United lost at
Yeah,
home against Brighton?
Brighton.
I think Aston Aston Villa. I think they're better than Brighton. So for me, yeah, it's a Aston Villa win. I can see nothing else
Yeah,
happening.
very much possible that the same thing that happened to United happens to Chelsea here. I know they're playing at home, but still, I have a hard time backing them with any confidence. Um, I think the line for Aston Villa is just disrespectful. Chelsea is not that good. I can go any. I don't have it as a lock because the line kind of stinks. So do they know something? I don't know. Maybe just respect for Chelsea, but I don't think that respect is deserved. So I would go with Aston Villa. No other way to go. I like Aston Villa as a bet.
Yeah, for me it's Aston Villa also. Aston Villa win.
All right. Next up, last game in the Premier League. Sheffield United versus Newcastle United. Sheffield wins at 7. Newcastle wins at 1.5. Line for the total goal set at 2.5. Who you got in this game?
I don't think there's much to say about this one. Sheffield, they, they haven't won yet. I think it's 1 point. They have now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should. Yeah, it should
yeah,
be one.
a draw against Everton. Yeah, no. Newcastle for me, it's a chance for them to get 3 points. No, I don't see nothing else happening. Sheffield, not a good team at all. No confidence. They're playing at home, but I don't think that will matter too much. Um, I think it will be a easy Newcastle win.
Um, I'm leaning towards Newcastle for a win. I don't think it will be an easy win. Like Newcastle, slightly disappointing. They were second best against Brentford last week. Very lucky to come away with the win. If you look at how they played against AC Milan in the Champions League, oh my God. Okay, AC Milan's good, but still, they could have put up more of a fight. They almost had no answer. Very surprisingly, that game ended in a 0-0 draw. Um, I don't have a lot of confidence in Newcastle United. I was thinking about this game and I really wanted to be like, okay, should I sprinkle something on Sheffield United? But they're not that good. I have a hard time backing them with any confidence. So I expect a Newcastle win, but I don't think it will be easy. I don't think it will be easy at all. So I'm staying away from this game. All right, that wraps up the Premier League. We had one game left in the Serie A. That was Lazio versus Monza. So we will do that quickly. Lazio wins at 1.82. Monza wins at 4.4. Line for the total goals, 2.5. Where are you going, Sergio?
Yeah, there's no confidence of saying that Lazio will win this one. Uh, Lazio really not performing at their best. Definitely not like they are doing last year. I think the performance of Lazio and Monza are even. I think they both won one game
Yeah, both
and
won one game. Both drew one
one
game.
draw.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
and
no, and
they lost.
no, Lazio lost three. Monza lost two and won one.
Yes. Uh, yeah. So actually, it's almost the same. And also, if you look at the table, it's like 4 points for Monza and three for Lazio, 14 and 15 on the standings. So I'm leaning towards Lazio, but only because it's Lazio. But I don't see them winning an easy match. Maybe they'll win, but it will be difficult. Monza has a big chance of getting a point even.
Yeah, Monza was very good against Lecce last week. They were very unfortunate to draw 1-1. Kind of dominated that game. Lazio one win against Napoli, quite surprising. Then they came back down to earth against Juventus, lost 3-1. They were sneaky good. I know they didn't win, but they were sneaky good against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. So maybe that has given them some confidence. They didn't have to travel. So that's the reason I'm leaning towards Lazio. But I agree with you, it won't be an easy win. Um, but it's a lean towards Lazio. All right.
Yeah, at out 182, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
slightly good value. All right, that wraps up all of our weekend matchups. We will do a quick recap of our logs. I have Feyenoord over 1.5 goals. I have Brentford, Everton, both teams to score. Juventus to win. Real Madrid to win. Union Berlin to win. And Napoli to win. Sergio.
Yes, mine are of course. I have Juventus to win, Napoli to win, Girona to win, Union Berlin to win, Feyenoord, and of course the one that I'm sure that will be right, Aston Villa to win.
All right. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. You can comment on our pod. Leave a 5-star review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you for listening. We will be back next week. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. And like we always say, bet responsibly.
Yes, have a nice weekend, everybody.